All right. The draft is just 3 hours away. Vikings will not have Rick Spielman turn in a pick for the first time in over a decade. It's Kwesi's show now, and to help break it down, what he and his new coaching staff might be looking for this weekend, let's bring in Vikings expert Luke Braun, host of Locked On Vikings. Follow him on Twitter at Luke Braun NFL. And I know Luke bleeds because when it comes to his stuff, he's out in California right now. And on that West Coast time, it means it's about 6 a.m., and he's still ready to jump out of bed and come talk Vikings with us. Understandable if you're still shaking the cobwebs out, Luke Braun. How you doing, man? Draft morning it is. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I haven't slept in days. It's fine.
On that 72-hour bender right now. That must be
Absolutely.
It's draft week. Yeah, we're all trying to connect the dots, Luke, with what Kwesi did in Cleveland and what the Vikings might be looking for. We know a lot of age-dependent factors will likely go into play despite having a lot of fifth-year seniors and older players and prospects in this class. And with a totally unpredictable first 11 picks happening before he's on the clock, it makes things really difficult. So you have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. You got to be ready for anything. What's plan A for the Vikings tonight? Like, what's the dream scenario look like for them? And who do you think is that top player on the board that maybe could still realistically be there at 12? I mean, if Kyle Hamilton is there any chance that they could pass on him?
So I have no idea where their board is at, but to me, that is plan A, right? Plan A is we sit there, we sit on our hands, we don't do anything, and our favorite guy just falls right into our laps, right?
Right.
And I don't know who that is. I have to think Derek Stingley's up there. There's so many ties and connections. He's just an utterly perfect fit. Like, it just makes so much sense, the fit. And he's young, and there's this LSU connection. There's something just like this great vibe to it with Patrick Peterson and all that. And I think you just have to kind of look into his last couple of years. But the thing is, his debut coach is here. Durante Jones, he's a Vikings coach now. So if anybody knows, like, they don't need to bring him in for a meeting. They got the guy that coached him. So I kind of feel like the Vikings are a bit of a leading authority on Derek Stingley. But it could be Hamilton. It could be, I saw somebody speculating that Sauce Gardner would fall and there'd be like this cornerback fall entirely. Nobody would pick any corners.
Wow.
And they'd all go for all the edge rushes and the tackles or something like that. And it's like, you know what? Weirder stuff has happened, all right? I don't think so. I think if that dude falls below the top 4, it's a crime. But weirder things have happened, you know? That's plan A, and then I think plan B is a trade down. It sounds like they've been working really, really hard to try to trade down. So if their guy isn't there, go to the early 20s-ish, maybe see if somebody wants to come up for a quarterback, and try to accumulate a little bit more in that really great kind of lap band of the draft, that 60s range where there's so much depth.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like Stingley doesn't get past the Jets. I feel like with what Robert Saleh is building there, like, he probably wants a guy like that on his team. And then, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, maybe McDuffie at 12. And I'm just like, I don't know about that. So we'll see. It should be fun tonight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that either, but it should be fun. How about day 2? Because this is extensive draft coverage that we're giving you on our podcast today. How do you feel about day 2 and what the Vikings may do there?
It all depends on if they get a corner or if they don't get a corner. And you don't have to get a corner, right? If they just sit there and they pick Jameson Williams, they pick Jordan Davis, one of these guys, that's totally an option. But if you do that, day 2 has to be about a corner. And there are names that I think we can still be very, very excited about on day 2, which is why this is an option. I mean, I think there are 5 first-round corners in this draft, and I don't know if all 5 of them get picked in the first round. I think there will be first-round corners available in the second round. There's a really high likelihood of that. Somebody like Andrew Booth could fall. Somebody like Kaiir Elam could fall. Doesn't sound like he will. Sounds like teams are higher on him maybe than the public is. But somebody like that. Or go for somebody like Kyler Gordon, the other Washington cornerback, who's very good in his own right. And I like Roger McCreary out of Auburn. I think he's kind of a gamer. I've got him as my cornerback 7, but I'd still happily take him at 46. It's a very top-heavy cornerback class, and you can get one in the second round. And if you do get a cornerback, then you can kind of just start chasing luxuries, right? Go get your favorite wide receiver who's available here. Take your favorite edge rusher that's still available, somebody might fall, right? Go get if George Karlaftis fell, teams don't seem all that high on him. I think that is, and then in round 3, in the later parts of day 2, especially if you've traded down, grab an interior lineman. I love getting a guard or a center to compete with Garrett Bradbury, and then eventually overtake him as Bradbury's contract runs out here. I love the 3rd and 4th round centers here. There's like 8 of them. I would be absolutely stoked to take in like the 90s.
I'm glad that you brought up Elam, because I think for me, when I look at what Kwesi's looking for, if McDuffie and Elam are on the board, and this is maybe after a trade down, say 18, late teens, early 20s, I think Kaiir Elam would be the pick over Trent McDuffie. I'm just not going to be surprised if they go that direction. Love that you brought up Roger McCrary. We've talked about him quite a few times on this show as well. Really solid value at pick 46. Flip on that Alabama-Auburn tape. I thought he was the best defender maybe on the field. So really impressive, deep class. Again, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. BPA. You don't have to pigeonhole yourself and just take a cornerback just because Patrick Peterson's getting a little old. And again, you need some more depth. Just in general, Luke, you've watched so much tape. Just in general in this class, who do you think, when we look back, who's going to be the best offense and defensive player from this class? You can't say Sauce, too easy. And I'm going to say you can't say Kyle Hamilton either, because that's too easy as well. Who's just some of your, offense, defense? You just think this is such a safe, easy pick 5 years from now. This guy's going to be great.
So you're gonna let me say Jordan Davis? Because then he's the guy.
Yes,
he's so good at what he does, and I think for me the only thing that's gonna push him down the board is he on the field all 3 snaps? Right. Because he's like a run defender guy, right? Is he gonna come off on 3rd and 7? And that is really gonna kind of limit his value. However, Georgia's coaches apparently have been telling teams, yeah, we took him off, we rotated him off, and we didn't have him be the premier pass rusher, but that was us. That was what we were that happened to be our scheme, and like he was doing a really good job of like pinning guys on stunts and being a part of that pass rush, even though he's not the actual pass rusher. He's not the guy trying to beat a player. He still had a role in those pass rushes. That was really, really useful to us. And so, even though he didn't have the production, he kind of did the dirty work. And what else do you want from a nose tackle, right? I think, a lot higher on people than Devontae Wyatt. And if it weren't for the red flags, I think he could be a top 15 player. Offensively, I don't know. Can I say nobody? I kind of hate the offensive side of this class.
Not a sexy class. No wide receivers or quarterbacks like we're used to, those blue chip guys. Yeah.
Yeah. If Jameson Williams is healthy, it's probably him. Otherwise, I kind of hate all the wide receivers. I don't have a single wide receiver that I would actually like the Vikings to take at 12. Not because I don't want them to take a receiver. I think it'd be fine to take a receiver. It's just none of them excite me. I just don't like the class. I don't know. I'll take an easy one and go with like Ike Ekwonu.
Safe, sexy. Could be even still in play. I'm not kidding, for the number 1 overall pick. Wouldn't surprise me. I know Jaguars, they franchise take Cam Robinson. So what? That doesn't mean that he couldn't slide in at guard and be that Quentin Nelson Pro Bowl guard for the next 5-7 years. So don't count that one out either. Yeah, real quick before Reggie asks you, last one, we'll get you out of here, Luke. I know you're a busy guy. I will say you brought up Jordan Davis. Everybody's saying Jordan Davis, not good value, nose tackle at 12. I'll say this, if Stingley or Sauce or Kevin Thibodeau are still on the board at 9, Seahawks are going there. But I'm hearing the Seahawks really love Jordan Davis. And if a lot of those guys are gone, Jordan Davis going in the top 10, specifically the Seahawks at 9, isn't out of the realm of possibility. Just tells you how good, despite being a nose tackle, good, clean, safe, A-plus prospect, checks all the boxes this guy could be. So I'd be very happy with him at pick 12. Go ahead, Reggie. Last one.
Man, it hurts my heart hearing you say you don't think the wide receiver class is all that
Reggie
sexy
wants a wide out.
Okay.
Man,
I can explain myself if you want.
Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. I mean, I did used to cover Ohio State, so I'm a little biased, but I love those guys. I'm not all that big on Drake London though, as some are, and I'm just like, maybe he'll be great, maybe I can be wrong, but I'm just not sure. But I will ask. All right, we don't usually do the hot takes on this show, but Luke, I'm gonna ask you, what's your one hot, super scorching take that we should see or that we could see in round 1 tonight?
Oh gosh, if you were going to ask me for like a player that's going to go like higher than you think, I would say Kairi Elam's second corner off the board.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh.
I think a lot of teams are higher on him than people are talking about. Trent McDuffie just cemented in that third cornerback spot. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know if I would agree with that, but I think a team might do it. If you want a scorching take on me, like from an evaluation standpoint, I don't think Aiden Hutchinson is a top 20 player in this draft.
Ooh, he did.
And
I
really hope the Lions take him because Christian Darrisaw is going to kick that little twerp's ass.
Ooh, he did it.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, dang.
He dies to jump sets, man. Like you get into a phone booth with him and he can't get off of you. Like he can set you up and Mr. Miyagi you all day, but if you just bring the fight to him, he's got nothing.
Wax on, wax off. Reggie, you asked for it and you got it. You got a spicy hot take. I love it.
Nobody can hold me accountable. It's great.
Yeah, that's
right. There are no rules. I can say all of it.
That's right. I love it when people come in and actually get outside the box a little bit and lay down some spicy takes. Going to be very interesting, very, very entertaining nonetheless to watch all this unfold tonight, 7 p.m. Central, when you can count on the Boo Birds coming out for Roger Goodell and the show begins. That might be my favorite part. Roger Goodell getting booed every pick. 32 times Roger Goodell gets booed, and he loves it. Luke Braun, host of the Locked On Vikings podcast, one of the best Viking pods you'll find. Follow him on Twitter at Luke Braun NFL. Luke, I want to thank you so much for getting up early and taking the time to join us to talk some Vikings and draft, my friend. Any coverage during this weekend we can keep our eyes peeled for?
Absolutely. Locked On Vikings will be live at 7 Central, so come check out the YouTube channel. Just search out Locked On Vikings on YouTube. And then there's also the Locked On NFL live show, which you can find on Locked On NFL, Locked On NFL Draft. After the Vikings pick, I'll go from my own live show to the Locked On NFL one. That's going to be kind of how that works. And then I will have shows up every morning this whole weekend, recapping the last day of the draft.
Love it. Can't wait. Check it out again. Locked On Vikings again on Twitter at Luke Braun NFL. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Pleasure.
Okay?
Thanks, Luke.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate
Cheers,
it. Luke
guys.
Braun. Yeah, appreciate it. Luke Braun again on Twitter at Luke Braun NFL. Locked On Vikings host Monday through Friday. 30-minute show. One of the best Viking pods for my money out there. Man, some spicy takes from Luke. Reggie, what'd you think?
Oh, we still got Luke with us. Luke is like,
Luke,
what are you about
here.
to say?
There you go. Yeah, right. He was like, wait,
No,
are they going to edit that out?
It is surprising, though, that Luke said that he wasn't all that thrilled with the wide receiver class because, you know, every year we got all these studs that come out that, you know, you can find a gem in the third, fourth round sometimes with these receivers. Now, all these guys are just some athletic freaks. You know, you got a bunch of guys running 4.3, 4.4 40s. And so, you know, it's just so interesting. Like I said, I'm big on the Ohio State guys because I believe in the brand. They call it Zone 6 out there. And I just think that, you know, somebody's going to get, you know, some great players in Olave and Garrett Wilson and, you know, Jameson Williams when he recovers from the ACL. I just saw a mock draft that had the Vikings taking Jameson Williams and, you know, with it being kind of a luxury for them thinking more long-term than short-term as maybe like a future replacement for Adam Thielen. And so I'm like, well, you know, I wouldn't be mad at that. I really wouldn't. And so, you know, I think it's just it's very interesting what we could see transpire tonight. And we could all be right. We could all be wrong. You know, we could all just be all kinds of off base. You know, sometime tonight we could find out that the Jaguars are going to take Kayvon Thibodeau, you know, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, you know, that makes sense for this wacky draft.
For me, it always comes back to everybody in the mock drafts, the experts, who's going to move around. This team wants to move down. This team wants to move up. It's impossible to predict trades. So why even try? But, you know, it's just not as easy as, all right, this team wants to move down. you got to have a trade partner, first of all, and it's got to make sense. I mean, you're not just going to move down for, next year's 6th rounder. No, it's got to make sense for both teams. I think it's going to be interesting to see how many trades actually unfold, not just in the top 10, but on round 1. Remember, a lot of teams like to trade back up at the end of round 1 to try to grab a quarterback for the future. They get that extra 5th-year option. We know teams like the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Saints, they got multiple first-round picks. Any of them can package some of those picks to get maybe a blue chip top 10 prospect. The Giants, I think, I've already said it, at 5 or 7, probably want to move back. But again, impossible to predict, but I think there will be a lot of trades tonight. It's just who, when, and what team's going to be a lot of fun.